asked me, how in the world did you retire at 25? Did you like win the lottery or something? Inheritance, stocks? And while all those seem like great ways to go about it, I found a much simpler path to my retirement. I decided to just stop showing up for work. And just like that, I was retired. I was living the dream. I mean, sure, you ask my mom and she'll say, you can't retire from anything if you've never done anything. But as the old saying goes, you say tomato, I say go fuck yourself. Now, I learned very quickly that I was really good at doing nothing, like a prodigy. After only a couple of weeks, though, of utilizing my greatest skill, the man, aka the utility company, shut off my power. Now, I'm sure it would have taken your average human being months to figure this out, but after only 2, maybe 3 days of racking my phenomenal brain in the dark, I was able to come to this conclusion. I didn't have any money. What was potentially worse, I was beginning to get the sense that retirees actually did things outside the realm of nothing. And I didn't know what those things were. Strange, of course, for me to not know something, so I did the only logical thing. I went next door and banged on the door of Mrs. Kaczynski, 80 or 300-year-old geriatric who lived next to me and who apparently gets all hot and bothered when you dive in her window when she's not there, unhook her cable, and run the cable back to your place so you can watch Family Feud. The conversation that we had was so critical, so historical, that I'm going to give it to you now, verbatim. Knock, knock, knock. She comes to the door. Oh, it's you. What the fuck do you want? I'm retired. More like retarded. I still can't believe people talked like that during the Civil War. Thanks for the history lesson, but I'm retired and I really need to know what retired people do. Apparently answer the door to find idiots. Wow, I would come back in like an hour or two or ask you again, but I'm afraid you'll be dead by then and I really want to know. So you want to know what retired people do all day, huh? Now I should have gotten a sense that something was up by the maniacal laughter that followed and was only stopped by the smoker's cough. I'm heading to bingo soon. It's a regular Disney World of retirees. You can follow me there. I'm like, sweet! And she says, but not too close. I have a reputation to uphold. Now, as I think back on it, that conversation was neither critical nor historical, and I think I made most of it up. It also wasn't verbatim, but that's mostly because I don't know what that word means. Regardless, I followed Kaczynski to the bingo hall at a distance deemed safe by my curmudgeonly geriatric neighbor. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was pretty cocky going in there. I mean, I'm in the parking lot, and I'm the only one standing fully erect. 3:30 dinner. These geezers just woke up, having down for a nap by the third nap. I mean, this was going to be easy. Retired and raking in the dough. I was going to be like my man Leo in that big-ass boat movie. I was going to be the king of the geriatric world. All of that changed, though, my friends. The moment I pushed open the double doors to American Legion Post 239. I was immediately attacked, not by a person, mind you, but by an army of smoke, the sight of which I cannot recreate for you tonight, for fear that the gentle ladies in the audience may faint by the visualization. I fell to the ground faster than my hopes and dreams in my early 20s. I looked around the floor on the 12 inches between the floor and where the smoke hit to see hundreds, thousands, 11 or 12 other 20-somethings, perhaps with my same delusions of grandeur. Many of my brethren perished on the American Legion Post 239 floor that night, my friends. It was every man for himself, so I bit the dude next to me and scurried toward the back like a baby turtle, trying to find a table and hopefully near a window. Before I can get there, though, a cane slaps down in front of me. I look up through the smoke to see a 3-foot, 10-inch, blue-haired grandma staring down at me through a pair of bifocals. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I tried to blur it out because, I'm the new guy. But she's having none of it. She slams the cane right down on my hand and she says, not standing so erect now, are you, hotshot? Holding back my tears, I crawl to the back and set up at a table in between a man we'll call Old Man Freeney, because I need to give him a name and Old Man Freeney seems to fit, who may or may not have been dead, and Mrs. Kaczynski, hooked up to her oxygen hose and revving up her rascal motorized scooter. Before I know it, They're calling numbers. B8, I-24. And that's when it hit me, this stark realization. I didn't know shit about bingo. I looked down at my one card trying to find the number, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I look over to my right, and Kaczynski is like all flailing arms like an octopus. She must have like 50 cards in front of her. I'm in awe. Like, how can you go 85 at the bingo table, but only 25 on the damn freeway? How is it that you can remember one number as you pour over 50 cards, but you can't remember that a sweater with a picture of Rudolph on it is a shitty Christmas gift? Damn it, in my rage, I missed the third number. I look over to my left. Maybe old man Freedy knows, but he's still passed out, or dead, or shit. Maybe he's just avoiding the nude. The numbers keep coming. I try to focus, not exactly my strongest suit. But eventually I notice, oh my gosh, I have a straight line. That means I go to scream, but strangely my voice sounds raspy and old. I turn to my right and I'm almost blinded by 3 razor-sharp glares. Actually, one of those trifocals really amplified. Kaczynski had bingo too. We stared for what seemed like hours, and then she smiled, raised her right hand, moved it toward her head, and pulled out her false teeth. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground screaming and squirming. The old scooter bitch, you just clamped me in the balls with a set of false teeth. She wasted no time either. She was off 5, maybe 6 miles an hour on a rascal scooter, heading to my victory, to my money. I jump up, remove her teeth from my Johnson, and try to chase after her. I guess I was wrong about old man Freedy. He wasn't asleep. He wasn't dead. He was waiting to take me down with this giant hurricane of death. So now I'm on the floor again. It's like the whole damn place is in geriatric cahoots. I get up once more. Chariots of fire begins to ring in my head. I take off. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've never been in war. But I've got to believe what I experienced that night in the straightaway of the American Legion Post 239 bingo hall was as close as I will ever come. The smoke was billowing. Evil lurked on each side. Canes whipping me right and left, on the ground, off the ground, on the ground, off the ground, scurrying. But I was closing in fast. 10 feet. 10 feet from the call station. 10 feet from what was probably, and very sadly, the greatest victory of my life. I closed in, elbowed Kaczynski off her scooter, and reached out my hand and said, "I've got you now, you old bag!" And that's when it hit me. What hit me, you ask? That I was taking this all a little too seriously. No. Then maybe I should just let Kaczynski win. No. So what hit me, you ask? Well, funny thing, irony. The last words I remember saying were old bag. And indeed, it would be an old bag that would lead to my demise that night. Not Kaczynski, an actual bag. Filled with shit. Now that's one sucker punch you ain't getting up from. Now sure, you talk to my friend Sil and he'll try to tell you it was just a big Ziploc bag full of chili. But I'll tell you this, my friends, if that was chili, that was the worst chili I have ever tasted. After a couple of days of showering and weeping in the dark, I decided I had to go back to the bingo. Mostly because my financial situation had yet to improve. I was a little nervous at first, mostly because they kept calling me names like Captain Colin or the Duty Dandy, or my personal favorite from Kaczynski, Shitface. Mostly though, I really just didn't want to take another bag of crap to the face. Toughed it out though, and I'm glad I did. That first night back, I made $300. I learned a few things. One, Kaczynski can't call bingo if somebody's stepping on her precious air hose. Old man Freedy can't take anybody down with his little hurricane of death once he's been accidentally slipped one of Mrs. Cantrell's Percocets. And 3, and these are words to live by, my friends. If you see a giant bag of shit flying at your head, duck. Now,